In this video, I am demonstrating to you an Excel project that calculates a particle equilibrium spring problem. This particular problem is a right triangle geometry spring problem in a vertical plane. And our inputs are the original length of the spring. So the original position of the spring is horizontal. Theta is 0. The original length of the spring is 3 feet in this particular problem. The spring constant is 50 pounds per foot. And so what we do is we actually hang, and there's a slider here, but the slider is weightless. The spring is weightless. And so we hang a weight from this left end of the spring, and the slider slides down this vertical bar, and the spring stretches, and at some point, this slider reaches an equilibrium position. And so the goal of this problem is to calculate that equilibrium position, that angle, the stretch of the spring, and what the force in the spring is. And there's a normal force exerted by the rod onto the slider. So it kind of makes sense that you ought to be able to, again, hang a weight, allow it to fall, let it reach an equilibrium position. And the notes video already described that process. But at the equilibrium position, this is the free body diagram of this collar. So there's a weight acting downward that you're applying. There's a spring force acting at an angle theta. And then there's a P, which is a normal force exerted by the smooth rod onto the collar. And we're assuming no friction between the rod and the collar. And so once you draw this free body diagram, if you sum forces in the x direction, you basically have Fs cosine theta minus P is equal to 0. And that's this equation. In the vertical direction, you have Fs sine theta minus W is equal to 0. And that's the second equation. And then finally, but if you look at those two equations, you actually have three unknowns. So our three unknowns are Fs, theta, and P, but I just have two equations. So I need a third equation. And the third equation, again, as I described in the other video, is I actually write a spring force equation where the force is proportional or is a function of the spring constant and theta. And so there's no new unknown, but I have one more equation that relates my unknowns. And once I have these three equations, these are nonlinear, so I can't put them into a simple linear matrix solution, but I can do a iterative solution, which is why I'm in Excel. And so what I do in Excel is, these are my inputs, the original D, which is also the unstretched length of the spring constant, and the current weight that I'm applying, and in this case, it's 10 pounds. I need a starting value for the iterations. So anytime you have an iterative method, you have to give some type of starting value to your iterations. Now let me just plug in the starting value for Fs. I'll just put in 20. For theta, I'll put in 25 degrees. And P, I'll put in 17 pounds. And we're going to go to Data, Solver. And if you don't have Solver on your computer, what you do is you go to File, Options, Add-ins, and you come down to Excel add-ins, and we're going to go Excel add-ins, go, and you should have solver checked. I like to activate VBA as well for visual basic programming within Excel, but solver needs to be checked. It usually is not checked by default, and so if you're on your computer or even on a computer in a computer lab at the university, solver may or may not be checked. Be sure it's checked and say okay. If you say okay, then again, if you go, let me just repeat that. So let's go to File, Options, scroll down. I'm sorry, add-ins. That's what we want. Add-ins. Manage Excel add-ins. Go, and just be solver is checked, and just say okay. So if you're home, and then you go to data, solver should show up if it's checked. If again, a solver doesn't, if you don't see solver, then be sure it's checked. So what is, whoops. So what is solver? So solver is a package that iterates to solve an iterative type problem. And it's similar to goal seek. So if you go to what if analysis, goal seek can be used to solve an equation that is a function of a single variable. And I don't have an example to show you now, but like if you have some function that varies with x in a nonlinear way, then you can use goal seek to iterate on that single variable x to find where that function is equal to 0. But goal seek can only handle a one variable iteration. Solver can iterate on a number of variables. In this example, I'm using 3 variables. In the other example we're going to work, it's going to use 5 variables. And so this is my solver setup. And what I've done is these are the 3 equations that we solved. And we basically said f cosine theta minus p is equal to 0, f sine theta minus w is equal to 0, and then this guy is equal to 0. I programmed this equation in this cell. Cancel. Close. So in this cell, I plugged in, I guess this equation, the weight equation. This cell, I plugged in the first equation here. And this cell, I plugged in this third equation. And these equations are using these values. And if you have the correct value of SF, the correct value of theta, the correct value of P, these equations will equal 0. And what you see here is what the equation is equal to. Clearly, these are not 0. So what I want Excel to do is I want Excel to iterate on these values so that these equations, well, ideally equal 0, but that the right-hand side of these equations is close to 0, less than some tolerance that I set. And so I want these guys close to 0. And so what we do is I need a goodness of fit parameter. And so what I'm going to do is this is called a residual, which is the right-hand side of this guy. Again, we want to drive these guys to 0 by iterating on these guys. So what I'm going to do is square that residual, and then I'm going to sum the squares. And the reason you square the residual is because the square is always positive. If you just sum, you could say, well, what if I just sum the residuals? Well, the problem with that is some of these are inherently negative, and so you can have negatives canceling out positive numbers, and you can end up with a small sum, but the 0 is due to these guys canceling one another out, and not because it's a good fit. But if you square them, and require the sum of the squares to go to 0 or some small number, then you get a pretty good fit. So this is going to be what I'm going to do. So when I pull up solver, what we're going to do is our objective is this guy right here. And then we're going to tell solver to set that equal to 0 or derive that to 0 as close as you can. By changing, and this is what solver's really good at, is it will let you give it a range of values. And so if I select these three guys, then solver will iterate on all three of these guys to drive this number to 0 or some close to it. If you actually go under options, you can give the precision of what you want. And I've taken this pretty small, so this is like 1 times 10 to the minus 5 or something like that. So it's pretty small. And you actually could change the method, but that's the tolerance we're using, which is a pretty tight tolerance actually. And so, and you can just say solve. And it says, we got a pretty good solution, and we say, okay. And so this is W equal 10. We iterated on these guys. These are the solution came up with. And the sum of the squares is like 1 times 10 to the minus 6. So it's a pretty good fit. What you can do is what I do is actually I copy this and I paste special image and I iterate again. And so I just put a new set of guesses. So I'll put in 21, 29, and 18. Just a new set of guess values. And then we go to data, solver again. And it came up with 20.88. This was 20.88, 28.6, 18.3. And we got a very, very similar solution. Okay, so that's pretty good. And earlier when I did this, so W is 10, I got, W is equal to 10, which is this guy. I got theta is 28.6, and 28.6 is what we got here. And H is the fall, which is equal to L sine theta. And I got H is 1.637, 1.64. And so that was for W is equal 10. If you want a different number, you can set W equal 20. And I can just use whatever I hear as starting values. And I'll just go data, solver, solve. It said it came up with a solution that looks pretty good. This was 20. Let's compare this to what I got earlier. And so 35.6, 34.4. I'm sorry, 35.6, 35.6. Elevation change 2.145, 2.15. Okay, so I'm pretty much getting these numbers. So I built this table out, and basically you can understand it. The larger the weight I hang here, the farther this guy will fall, and the greater the angle will be. And so I basically iterated for each of these: W equal 5, W equal 10, all the way out to 30. And so this is the plot we got. And so blue is the spring angle, which varied from 22 degrees to 40 degrees. And the orange is the elevation change, which varied from 1.27 feet to 2.54 feet. So it doubled. 1.3 feet to 2.5 feet as it falls. So the larger the weight, the greater the fall. And this is really cool. It's really powerful. I mean, it's a powerful. So what you've done here is you've built a model. You've built a mathematical model of this system using equations that define something about the system. Two of our equations are basically particle equilibrium of this collar. And the third equation is just basically based on the geometry of this triangle and of our spring equation, which is basically F is equal to KS. And so three known equations that you know define this system and let me calculate not only the forces, but the geometry as well. And so that's pretty powerful. It's pretty cool, actually, that you can do that. That's a lot of power in your hands. And again, Excel is an extremely valuable tool, and you can use it to do a problem like this. And so it's pretty interesting anyway. So remember, there's two kinds of spring problems. There's a spring problem of where the geometry is given, and you solve just like a regular particle equilibrium problem. And then once you find the forces, then you can calculate the spring constant, the spring stretch, the unstretched length, something like that. But you can do something like this, which is more advanced, where you can actually calculate the geometry too, as it changed. So you've got that capability. Obviously, you're not going to do this on a test. You might have a homework problem like this, but it's pretty powerful. And so I'm just showing it to you because it's cool. It's a great application of Excel. One of my goals in the statics class is to help you to become a great statics student. I also want you to become a great engineer. Remember, statics is really one of the foundational engineering courses. And so it's one of the first courses where you learn to think like an engineer. And part of my goals is to help you to use tools well, like an engineer should. And so one of those tools is the TI-89 or the TI Inspire. Another one of those tools is Excel. And so there will be other problems in this class where I'll use Excel to show you something. And if you don't know how to do this, figure it out. I try to find my example. My Excel file is on the website, course website. And so you can get it and dig into it yourself and try it and see if you can make it work. Get Solver installed and play with Solver and have fun with it.